Come on, Daniel, let's be quick. The sun is literally going to go down very soon.
I know. Well, we'll get some lovely light on the Dolomites behind, on the snow. We've got the Monte Colac there, and just behind me, through the trees, is the Marmolada. But we've spoken enough about that today. The Queen of the Dolomites.
We have. We're suffering here a little bit because it's quite chilly.
And we've got no lovely local wine today. We've got a Paulana. I mean, not really local produce. This is from Munich, but we're getting towards the German-speaking valleys. We discussed that on the pod last night, didn't we, Rich? The Val Gardena. Not so much here. Here, the lingua. Well, the first language, as we learned last night, is Ladino.
Ladino, of course. How could we forget? I've been brushing up on my Ladino today and intend to order dinner in Ladino tonight.
Oh my God.
Daniel, as with last week on the rest day, we're going to answer a few listeners' questions that have been emailed in.
And they're quick fire. They have to be quick fire because the sun is dipping.
Yeah, okay. This one comes from Gergely Bakse in Budapest in Hungary. Gergely, thank you for your comments about our Giro coverage. Glad you've enjoyed it. He wants to say that our listeners are not that old. Sure, we all remember Pantani with and without his bandana, but rest assured we are all young at heart. This relates to a comment you made on the podcast disparaging our listeners as not
disparaging
being young.
ourselves more than anything, really.
Now,
disparaging
says
our output.
Gergely, all I need to do is figure out who Tyler Zwift is. Oh, I like it. But he adds a PS. Have you heard any rumours if and when the Giro may start in Hungary?
Yes.
Now, it's supposed to start there in Gergely's home city of Budapest last year.
Yes, I have heard rumours. I've had it, well, to my surprise actually, because I thought it was dead in the water based on the amount that Hungary were going to invest and the amount that the pandemic has cost every country. I thought it was dead. I heard 2 days ago when we were in Friuli from someone there who's kind of very high up in the Giro organisation, or knows people very high up in the Giro organisation, that it's back on the cards. Don't know for when. I wouldn't rule it out that it could be quite soon, if not next year, then the year after. But we saw a delegation in Grado, a rather sizable delegation of Hungarians wearing sort of branded gear, Giro start in Hungary. I don't think that was just leftovers from last year.
The sun's going, it's literally going, we better be quick. Good afternoon, chaps. How much of following a grand tour for the podcast is work and how much is a holiday? This comes from Johnny Townsend.
What a great question. I'll let you answer
50-50? No.
Well, we definitely do indulge our passions, maybe the Giro, particularly me. Is that fair to say?
I think it's in some ways more fun than a holiday, because I personally like being somewhere with a purpose, and so it's fun. There's no point in pretending otherwise, because we're here indulging our passion for cycling to some extent and going to some fantastic places and covering a race that we enjoy covering. So it is enjoyable, but it's hard work.
Hard work, very stressful. It is very stressful. You can't really switch off. We don't really switch off until, well, some evenings 9 or 10. I mean, from the moment I get up in the morning, so I go running in the morning at 7 o'clock, and then from that moment on, whether it's packing, getting ready to leave for the start, having breakfast, dealing with social media. We do a lot of stuff on social media in the morning. It's full gas.
Full gas, and just because we enjoy cycling, we enjoy the Giro, it doesn't mean that every aspect of it is enjoyable. There's a lot of time in the car, and that gets a bit wearing, but it is overall fun. And these are beautiful bells, aren't they?
They're beautiful bells, and I guess the
sets.
scene is beautiful behind us as the sun sets.
So, final question, Daniel. This comes from Steve Dickinson from not Watford. Following the theme of the podcast and ignoring cycling for a minute, what's the one place or region that the Giro should visit that it hasn't recently to sample the ultimate wine and food experience? Or in Rich's parlance, where's the nicest wine and food?
Well, the Giro this year has done very well. We've done very well in terms of the regions we've visited. Tuscany and Piemonte are probably the greatest Italian wine regions, food regions. We've gone to both of them, maybe not for food Tuscany, but certainly Piemonte. I'd like to spend more time in Sardinia. I feel that Sardinia has got a bit of a raw deal the last few years. We've spent a lot of time in Sicily, and the food, the wine in Sardinia, for some tastes might be a bit rustic, certainly not on the same level as Piedmont and Tuscany, but I'd like to spend more time there, Rich. I mean, I absolutely loved, and it was a revelation to me, Abruzzo. Not so much the region this year, but the fact that we stayed on the Emidio Pepe winery, which I didn't really know that much about before we did stay there. That was a big surprise, and a very welcome surprise for me. I loved that.
Matera last year was outstanding, and a revelation to me, a little Just an extraordinary place because it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's amazing, sparkling white city, which I really want to go back to. It feels like it's carved out of the ice, and it was beautiful and stunning and otherworldly, and I enjoyed that. Enjoyed La Marche this year as well. I've never been there before. We stayed in a fantastic place, didn't we, in La Marche? Stunning landscapes there, and yeah.
I'd also like to have my opinion about certain places I don't necessarily take to changed. I feel I've had a bad experience with Sicily so far. We've been there quite a lot in the last few years. Don't think we've been to the nicest parts of Sicily, and everyone raves about it to me, particularly, you know, the food, and then the southeast corner around sort of south of Ragusa, around there. Haven't really lingered there long enough to have an objective, authoritative view of what it's really like.
Final question, Daniel, from me. Any surprises left in this Giro, or is it done and dusted?
It's a good question, Rich. I think there could definitely be a surprise. The weather forecast is still not great, and it only takes a crash. We don't wish it upon anyone, but a crash or an injury, and yeah, I must say, I don't think this has been a great Giro from the point of view of the racing. I talked about it the other day. I think the fact that so many first-time stage winners have won is nice, and there've been some good stories. Well, there've been some good stories among that, but the way the break has gone so easily every day, and the lack of opposition to Ineos, I think, has been a real problem for the narrative of this race. And I mean, I always feel bad saying this because there are teenagers out there in particular who will be watching their first or second Grand Tour, and every moment.
But there won't be teenagers listening to or watching us.
No, that's true. But every moment will be scintillating and just viscerally enthralling. And
Bernal is a very appealing character, isn't he?
So then to say at the end of this Giro, which we probably will say, that this was not a great vintage, I'm loath to do that, but I do feel that in my heart.
It might not be a great vintage, but it could still have a great winner in Bernal.
Yes, and a great performance. Lots of great performances.
Shall we sign off?
We should. Good evening.
Until the next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Prost.